Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to an interesting video I decided to make just kind of out of the blue. Um, as you can tell by the title, we are going to be going through probably the uh, people who I've met at conventions and whatnot who I'm most proud to have met. The people who have either changed my life in some way or are just the coolest people I've gotten to meet. Um, so I'm going to be going through this list of them. I'm going to try to keep each entry brief and to the point and explain like maybe how many times I've met them, if I've met them multiple times, or like what their meeting meant to me, stuff like that. Um, so yeah, it's just a fun way to like show like okay, who all these people I've met at different conventions and stuff for those who might not know. And it's a fun way to show like what meeting some of these kinds of people can mean to some of us. So let us get started. So we're starting off with Alexandra Carter. She is the voice of Twist from My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. I met her at PhillyCon 2016, a pony convention in Philadelphia. And this one is one that you wouldn't think would be on the list. And oh, by the way, all of the pictures in here are from before I came out as trans. So some of the pictures will have me with like facial hair and whatnot. Just wanted to let you know. So these are pictures from before I came out as trans, back when I did identify falsely as a male. So yeah. But yeah, this one is one you wouldn't think would necessarily be on the list because it's Twist. She's a minor character in like season 1 of the show and really hasn't had any relevance after that. But I hadn't heard prior to that event of that voice actress going to any conventions. And while meeting her, like specifically it being her wasn't the big draw of it all. It was more of the convention itself and just how amazing it was and how just great it was to help staff it and everything. It was just a really nice moment that I just, for some reason, really liked and that I really look upon fondly. But moving on, next we have Andrea Libman. So this one's an interesting one because I met Andrea Libman at my first pony convention, which was Ponyville Cider Fest 2014. Which took place about just over a year after I first discovered the show. This picture, however, is from Winnie City PonyCon 2016, which was in the spring of 2016, so it was over a year later. Now, when I first met Andrea, it was at that point where I was still like really thankful for the show for what it had done in saving my life from depression and suicide, and Fluttershy and Pinkie being the two characters who were huge behind that. They were the ones who really were the ones to save my life, you know? And so when I first met Andrea at Ponyville Cider Fest 2014, I was terrified because it meant so much to me. Even though she just voiced these characters, getting to meet her being there meant a lot, and it was really scary because I had met a couple of like voice actors and stuff at Youmacon 2013 prior to this, and Youmacon 2014 I believe was before Cider Fest that year, so I would have met probably a couple others there too, but none of them really had as much of an impact on my life as Andrea did. And I was helping staff Cider Fest, so the first time I actually saw her, like, and got to kind of meet her, was when I was working in the kids' room. She came in to do Fluttershy birdhouses with the kids, and I froze. Like, I stood in one place the entire time she was in there, and I was freaking out. I was pretty much having a panic attack because I was like that shaken by just her being in the same room as me. And later on that very day, I went to get her autograph and a picture, and that picture, at the time I didn't have my camera, so that picture was taken with the 3DS. It was terrible quality. But she signed a print I had, a Pinkie Pie print I got, and I got to talk to her. She recognized me because we had responded to each other on Twitter a couple times. And afterwards, I had to go into the bathroom, and I nearly had a breakdown because I was so emotional over it. When I met her again in 2016, where this picture was taken, um, I was definitely a lot more controlled because by that point I had become a lot more used to meeting a lot of these voice actors and celebrities. Plus, having met her before at that point, I was definitely a lot more just not as, I guess you could say, fangirling over it. It was still great to get to see her again. It was great to get a updated picture and everything, and one that actually looked really good. So yeah, I'm happy to have met her for sure. um, Next up, we have Animated James. This is a interesting one because this picture was taken at TrotCon 2015. This was one of the best conventions I've ever attended. And Animated James at that time was probably in the height of his time as a brony YouTuber. Since then, he's kind of faded off the map and has left a lot of that behind due to personal issues that he's faced, as well as just a lot of issues with the community. But he was so funny and so nice. Like, he kind of plays this asshole kind of character on screen, like if you've seen him in the Bronies React videos. But if you meet him in real life, he's actually extremely nice. When I met him, it's like I had just gotten there. We were waiting to get our hotel room and everything. I was sitting in the lobby. He happened to be there with some friends playing cards. I went up to him. I asked him if I could get a picture. He was extremely happy to do so. And it was just, for one of my favorite conventions I've ever been to, he made a great first impression for me. Just, again, that it was pretty much right after I'd walked in the door. We were sitting in the lobby waiting to get our hotel room and everything, and just having that as a first impression for the convention meant a lot. It's a really memorable moment because of it. Next up, we had Anthony C. This was at BronyCon 2017. So Anthony C. is a big-name pony reviewer and kind of a comedic version of such on YouTube. He doesn't put up videos too often, though, because his videos are heavy in production value, and it just takes a long time to make them a lot of the time. And he lives in Australia. So he doesn't go to a lot of he doesn't really go to conventions in America because it takes a lot to get over here. But he went to BronyCon 2017, and getting to meet him right outside of Mad Munchkin's stall, who is actually a friend of mine, funny enough, getting to meet him and everything, it was amazing because he's one of my favorite brony YouTubers by far. He, just like with Animated James, he's a really nice guy. He's really funny, like really funny too. Like he cracks jokes and was messing around with a couple people. He had that, like, the cane he was walking with. He was acting like posh and whatnot at times. It was just a great experience getting to meet him. ANY Entertainment and Voice of Reason. This was at BronyCon 2017. This was right after I had gotten my badge. I was going to go head out to Barnes & Noble, which is in the Baltimore Bay area, because I wanted to get the Legend of Korra comic, the first one that had come out at that time. And so I was literally heading out of the convention when I saw them and a few others just hanging around and everything. So I asked ANY if I could get a picture, and he's, just like most of the others on this list, was extremely happy to do so. And so we posed for the picture. While we were posing for the picture, which I believe it was actually Kichi, another YouTuber, friend of theirs and all. I think she was that one actually who was focusing it and everything. But while we were taking the picture, just out of nowhere, I guess, I didn't even know it until after I saw the picture and everything, Voice of Reason, who I had met before, came up behind us and, you know, messed around, did the entire bunny ear thing behind me. It was just like with the last one. It was just a good way to start off a convention and just a really fun meeting and everything. Plus, again, ANY is another Brony YouTuber who I've always just really liked and really respected. So, next up is Argo Demon from BronyCon 2016. Argo is easily my favorite original animator. He does SFM animations for the Brony community and has done one of my all-time favorites, which is Full Metal Pony, which is a pony version of the fourth opening for Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. I met him at BronyCon 2016, which was my first BronyCon, following a panel he was part of. I'm going to say it a lot on this, I feel, but he was super nice. He was just really cool. He cracked some jokes, and we actually talked about our mutual love of Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood together. It was just a really fun moment, and getting to meet one of my favorite animators, heck yeah. So Big Jim Miller is next. This was at Winnie City PonyCon 2016. Big Jim is one of the showrunners and, you know, big guys behind My Little Pony. And he wasn't one I was planning to meet, actually, funny enough. This was at closing ceremonies. It was at closing ceremonies and everything. We were basically going to be getting ready to leave soon. And everyone was just kind of hanging around, and I decided, you know what, why not? I had seen him at a couple panels and at the charity auction and whatnot, and he was a really funny, cool guy. And so I approached him, I asked him for a picture, he was glad to do so, and he loved my Starlight plush, which is kind of blocked off by the pony avatar of his. But yeah, he's just a great guy to get to meet, and this one was a great way to end off a convention. So this one was a big one, and I'm actually going to skip. I'm going to actually skim past this, talk about it very briefly, because there's sort of a sequel picture to this. But at BronyCon 2016, I actually worked it out with some other Brony reactors to meet up. Blank Check, Potter Brony, and Epic V. We met up, we had lunch together, we talked about how we got into the show, our favorite characters, all kinds of stuff. And it was a great time. We really had fun, and just, yeah, it was cool getting to just hang out with other people who enjoy just watching the show and letting other people watch us watch the show. But I'll get back to that in a moment, because there is another picture kind of revolving around this. So in the meantime, at NotCon 2017 here in Michigan, I met Brian Massey, an anime voice actor who's known for voicing Oolong from Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, and I think Oolong is in Super as well. I'm not 100% on that. He's various other characters, like Dick Gumshoe from the Ace Attorney anime. He's Kyoka Jiro's father in My Hero Academia, the dub, of course. He's Lad Russo in Baccano, and many other characters. He's a pretty good voice actor. He was in a Nicolas Cage movie. I cannot remember the name of it at the moment, though. But he was a cop in a Nicolas Cage movie. I want to say it was Drive Angry, but I'm not 100% on that. He was amazing. Like, NotCon was a convention that wasn't supposed to happen. It was actually a kind of replacement convention, because every year there's a convention called Midwest Media Expo, but the hotel canceled on us a week before the convention. So we had no idea what to do. Another hotel ended up stepping forward and allowing the staff for Midwest Media Expo to host something there. It was a much smaller event, a lot less people. A lot of the guests had to cancel because of, you know, changes and everything. And they couldn't, like, get back into going again after having already canceled their flights or whatnot. But there were a couple guests there. Brian Massey was one of them. There was also John St. John and David Eddings. I got to meet Brian Massey at the signing and everything, and he is just amazing. We talked for quite a bit of time regarding some of his roles. and he was a blast to meet. And since the convention was so small, it was a very small thing. We actually saw each other multiple times throughout the weekend and got to chat and just say hi and whatnot. It was just really fun and really cool. He's an amazing guy. He actually follows me on Twitter. Funny enough, he actually follows me on Twitter. But he was a wonderful person to meet. He's actually from Michigan originally. And yeah, I just really loved getting to meet him, and I would love to be able to do so again sometime. Next up is Kathy Wesluck, BronyCon 2017. So this was another one that wasn't initially going to happen. I had just waited in line to meet Claire Corlett, the voice of Sweetie Belle from MLP. And at that point, I noticed that Kathy's line was pretty much empty, and it's like I noticed I had some extra money that I kind of miscounted or something. So I had extra money. It's like, you know what, I'm going to go over there and I'm going to see if I can get a picture with her. And I did, and we even talked a bit. I got to talk to her about her role as Nier in Death Note, which a lot of people like at these conventions won't bring up, because they they'll bring up Spike. She's Spike in MLP, so they'll bring that up all the time. But it's like they don't talk about like Nier, and especially because Nier is tends to be really poorly received by a lot of Death Note fans. So she seemed to really appreciate it, and we got the picture and everything, and it was just really cool to get to do that for her, to get to show her that I did actually really like her performance as Nier, and really appreciated just this other stuff she does. So after that, we have Chris Rager. This was at Youmacon 2016. This was a very brief meeting. It was just during a little meet and greet with a bunch of the guests there. I got to say hi. We talked briefly about his roles as Hercule Satan in Dragon Ball Z and Super and all that, as well as Arlong in One Piece. And that was pretty much it. There wasn't a lot to this meeting. We didn't talk for a long time. And this one, it's just more like, this one is just one of those cool ones. It's like, it's just really cool that I got to meet Chris Rager, you know? Because I had grown up, I'd always loved Hercule Satan. He was just always one of my favorite Dragon Ball Z characters. So that one was just a really cool one. This one was actually another unexpected and unintended one. This was at Youmacon 2015. So I was going through the vendor hall when I saw my friend in line to meet Chuck Huber. Now, I had not intended to meet Chuck. I just really didn't even think about it at the time. But I saw my friend there, and I decided to stand in line with him, talk and everything. Once we got up to the table and all, it's like, you know, why not? I'll say hi. Chuck Huber is known as for the infamous Shao Tucker from Fullmetal Alchemist and Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. But he's also Android 17, he's Dr. Stein from Soul Eater, and he's Hiei from Yu Yu Hakusho. So a lot of characters and a lot of shows that I really like. He was like really like goofy too. He was like a jokester, and it's like when I asked for a picture, he like asked if I wanted to do any kind of weird poses or whatnot. Like he actually used the term weird poses. But I said, nah, just a regular picture is fine, and he insisted on putting his arm on my shoulder and everything, and it was just cool. I think it was one of the first times I saw how laid back a voice actor could be, because he was really laid back. But then we have Kieran Strange. Now, Kieran Strange I first met at Youmacon 2015. He was he was recording for a music video at the convention, and he had put out like this open casting call. It's like, oh, just email him and or message him on Twitter or whatever, and he can set it up. And so we set it up. I was in his music video, which debuted a year later at Youmacon 2016. We saw each other again there. We saw each other again at 2017 Youmacon, and he follows me on Twitter. I follow him. We've become good friends. Like, I mean, not like best friends or anything, but we've become friends since our initial meeting, and he was one of the driving forces behind helping me come out as trans, because he himself is trans. And last year at Youmacon 2017, after having spent almost the entire year considering the possibility of it all, I I talked to him after a panel he was running, and he introduced me to a friend who is now a friend of mine as well. And it was because of them that I really came to terms with it and accepted myself as a girl. And it's changed my life. So meeting him back in 2015 just to be in his music video, which at the time I barely knew like his music even. I actually had to listen to a lot of his music beforehand just because I didn't want to go into that shoot not knowing at all like what he did. um, but it was great. I'm holding his book there that I bought from him last year at Youmacon. He had it signed for me. And again, keep in mind, this was before I came out. I came out after Youmacon, but it was because of Youmacon 2017, which is where this picture was taken, that that gave me the courage and just the confidence to be able to do so. Claire Corlett, I mentioned how I had been waiting in line before Kathleen Wesluck for her. I actually waited in line twice for Claire. The first time I waited in line for 2 hours, and I was only like halfway through the line at that point. I actually had to go to something else that I needed to get to on time, so I had to leave the line. And so the next day I went back and tried again, and I waited in line for 2 hours again. But that time I did get to the front of the line. I did get to meet her. Super sweet, super just friendly, and she was the one who actually suggested doing the thumbs up for the picture. It was just great getting to meet her, my favorite member of the Cutie Mark Crusaders, and yeah, it was just really cool, you know. DeWilstonator, this is a fun one too. So this picture was taken at BronyCon 2017, but we actually met at my first pony convention, Ponyville Cider Fest 2014, which I had mentioned before. And here's a fun thing. I did not know who he was when I met him. And the even more fun part, since I was staffing at Cider Fest, I was like put into a room. They gave me a room and everything. He was one of my roommates. I had no idea who he was at first. It wasn't until the second day there that I found out through seeing him at a panel that I realized who he was. I actually had to look up a lot of his content because I knew him, but just barely. And since then, like, every time I've been at a convention that he's been at, which has mostly been BronyCon and stuff, I've gotten to talk to him and everything, and he's a pretty cool guy. This picture was taken at the very beginning of BronyCon. This was actually before I got my badge and everything of BronyCon 2016 or 2017. I was literally in the hotel lobby waiting for my roommates, because I went to Baltimore with my friend, and we were waiting for our roommates to come down to give us our keys so we could get into the room. I saw him there, and I decided to just go up, say hi, and get a picture. And he is another one who was just really cool about it and everything. He's a really cool guy. But that's why I have like the cables around my neck in this picture and all, because I was literally waiting to go up to my room during the time. After that, we have Dusty Cat. Dusty is another one I had met initially at Ponyville Cider Fest 2014. I got a picture of him using my 3DS terrible camera with Saber Spark, who I didn't know at the time at all. Like, I didn't know who Saber Spark was back then. But I got a picture of him with Saber Spark, and since then I had seen him at multiple conventions. We've become friends. This picture was taken at a bowling meetup here in Michigan that I actually helped plan. So I got a picture with him there, and we've seen each other at other conventions and stuff. We've seen each other at BronyCon, and he's just always one of the most nice, one of the most accepting and just coolest people I've met. He definitely lives up to his moniker of the manliest brony in the world, but he shows that manliness can also be kindness, generosity, and just acceptance, and it's really awesome. Vixie, my favorite artist in the Brony community. She's not as active as she used to be, but she still has some amazing art out there. This picture was taken at BronyCon 2016, and yeah, I just met her at her table in the vendor hall. I bought a couple things from her and asked if I could get a picture, and she was very happy to. Her Sunset Shimmer cosplay was great. She was super nice and helpful, and it was just really cool getting to meet my favorite artist in the fandom. Okay, so Eric Stewart, the voice of James from Team Rocket in Pokemon, and the voice of Seto Kaiba in Yu-Gi-Oh! I know this video is going on a little long, so I'm going to try to speed through some of these. This was another one I had not intended to meet. This was during a meet and greet at Youmacon 2017 with the guests, and it just kind of happened. I saw him there, and it's like, yeah, you know what, cool. I loved both James and Seto Kaiba growing up. I still do. And it was just a cool idea to get to meet him. I just got a picture with him, said I liked his roles in Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh!, and that was pretty much it. Okay, so this is the sequel to the other picture. The other picture was at BronyCon 2016. This is the next year, BronyCon 2017. We got a lot more blind reactors this time to join us. As you can see, Powder Brony, Epic V, and Blank Check are still there, but we also have the likes of Brony Monster 44, Loquacious of Herd, and Apple Geek. There were a couple others there too who I really don't know that well. But it was a great meetup. This one we didn't go out to lunch for, but we got to hang out for a bit. We talked. It was cool to see them again. It was just an all-around great time. I really wish I could have gone this year to BronyCon and done this again. But it was great getting to meet them and just continue to just become friends with other people who do the same kind of thing on YouTube that I do. Okay, this was at the bowling meetup that I mentioned with Dusty Cat before. And this is Fireteam Harmony. They were there as well. They are a cosplay troupe that combines Halo and My Little Pony. And so, since they were there, I decided I wanted to get a picture with them, of course. The others were getting pictures with them, and it was just really cool. I've gotten to talk to them. They were some pretty cool friends. A couple of them helped actually plan the meetup and everything. They gave Dusty Cat his own helmet and stuff. It was just really awesome. Plus, they're some of my favorite cosplayers that I know, actually know in the Brony community. Okay, so Fluffy Mixer, BronyCon 2016. He is the creator of Flufflepuff. He is extremely shy and quiet and just really kind and reserved and not really what I expected, but it made him just feel so much more down to earth and like I could connect with him. And it felt really cool to get to meet him, see the kind of stuff he had in the works at the time. And yeah, he was just a really cool guy to get to meet. Okay, so at Youmacon 2015, I met anime reviewer Tristan Gallant, also known as GR Arcada. He lives right across the border in Canada, and he had come down for Youmacon to just hang out with friends and stuff, and yeah, just dork around. And I met him completely on accident. I did not know he was going to be there. I was walking across the bridge from the People Mover, with basically the train to get to from one building to another, because the convention Youmacon is held in two separate buildings. I'm walking on the bridge to get into one of the buildings from the train station, and he's just walking there. At first, I thought he was a cosplayer. No joke. I thought he was a cosplayer. I actually stopped and asked him for a picture, and he was cool about it, and it was at that point, after I had taken the picture of him, that I realized it was really him. And so I actually had to ask him. It's like, you're the real Arcada, aren't you? And he's like, yeah. We joked around about how about the cosplay thing and how I thought it was a cosplay, and he was cool about it. But he agreed to take another picture this time with me and everything, and it was just really cool. He is a really cool guy, and he's still one of my favorite anime reviewers, despite he hasn't put out a lot of amazing content lately, at least not in my opinion. Not that the content he's put out is bad, it's just, I guess you could say it's just not as much interesting to me, if I'm being honest. But it was still great to get to meet him. He is really cool, he is really funny, and yeah, just one of my favorite anime YouTubers out there. So Ian Sinclair, I had met him at Youmacon 2015 the first time, and I got a picture with him. It was not that great of quality, so I chose to go with this picture, which I took last year at Youmacon 2017. He is just extremely funny and personable. It's like, if you go up to him and want to talk to him or want to ask him for a picture, he's like he's like one of those first people who will just like suggest how the picture should go. He was the one who suggested this one to be selfie style, and just like he wanted to do that dorky smile. He actually wanted to do that dorky smile and pointing towards me and everything. He's Space Dandy. He's Whis from Dragon Ball Super. He's Brook from One Piece. He was just a really fun guy to hang out with both years for the short time I got to. And yeah, it was really cool. Okay, so this one was at PhillyCon 2016, the one in Philadelphia I mentioned with Alexandra Carter. And that's where I got to meet Ingrid Nilsson, the voice of Pinky's three sisters, Maud, Limestone, and Marble. And this one was at the end of the convention, like right before closing ceremonies. I hadn't gotten to meet her at any point during the rest of the con. I wanted to, like she was who I really wanted to meet there. But at closing ceremonies, the staff and everyone, the guests and all, were getting prepared behind the curtain for the closing, right next to the stage. And everyone was just kind of goofing around, and so I thought, I went up to her and I just asked, could I get a picture with you? And she was super excited to do so. Like, she loves getting pictures with people, I guess. And she was just really happy to get to do this, and it was like, I don't know, that just filled me with joy, you know? Especially with how much I connect with Maud on a personal level. It just really was so cool to get to experience that, you know? J. Michael Tatum, my favorite voice actor in anime. I met him at Youmacon 2016. He's actually going to be at Youmacon again this year. I hope to get an updated picture and whatnot. He's the voice of Rintaro Okabe from Steins Gate, Tenya Ida from My Hero Academia, Butch Cassidy from Drifters, Kraft Lawrence from Spice and Wolf. He's Klein in Ruby, Scar in Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, Eneru in One Piece, Isaac Dean in Baccano. He's also Sebastian Michaelis, or Michaelis, or however it's pronounced, in Black Butler, and many, many other roles. He's probably one of the most prolific voice actors out there in anime, and getting to meet him was such a joy. I talked to him about Steins Gate at the time, and he loved my Daru cosplay despite how simple it was. And he just really, it was just a blast getting to talk to him. He was really nice, really friendly, and I really hope to have a similar experience when I meet him this year. Well, meet him again. Okay, so at Midwest Media Expo 2016, I met Jason Marsden, the voice of Max Goof from A Goofy Movie, and Haku from Spirited Away. This was one I kind of decided to do last minute. I mostly wanted to meet the likes of Kyle Hebert, who was also there. But while I was seeing the guests and everything, I thought to like see him as well. I got an autograph from him and everything, and then later in the convention, I also got a picture, which is where this came in. This was following a panel. He actually asked me to follow him because he had to use the restroom first. So we followed him to right outside the restrooms. He went in, and when he came out, it's like, okay, let's do this. He's really nice. A lot, like, we joked about it and everything, but he's actually a lot shorter than I thought he was going to be. But he was a great guy. It was awesome to get to meet him. Okay, so at BronyCon 2017, I met YouTuber Jaxblade, who's known for doing Brony React. He does his like workout videos on how like the workouts of animated characters would be like in real life and stuff. And he has fun with all that kind of stuff on Twitter. I really had wanted to meet him the year before, but he was in a rush to kind of get out of there at the time when I actually got to see him. Because at BronyCon 2016, I didn't even see him until like when everybody was leaving, and he had to get out of there, so I didn't have time to get a picture or anything. But at BronyCon 2017, also I didn't get to see him until I was leaving. Both of us were waiting in the hotel lobby for our rides to pull up from the parking garage and everything. And so I went up and asked if I could get a quick selfie with him. And he was super cool about it. And it's like, yeah. He was wearing his Steven Universe tank top, and we talked about Steven Universe for a little. But then he had to head out. But it was really cool getting to finally meet him in real life, you know? So then at Youmacon 2014, I met Johnny Yang Bosch. He's Ichigo from Bleach. He's Vash the Stampede from Trigun. Jonathan Joestar from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. TK from Digimon Adventure Tri. And Izira Orihara from Durarara. This one, it was very brief. I didn't really get to talk to him about his roles much because he had a long line. So it was pretty much, I went up, I shook his hand, I said I really enjoyed his voice acting and whatnot, and we got a picture. This is what it looks like. You haven't seen it before at this point, but this was taken on my Nintendo 3DS. This is what the 3DS quality pictures look like, yeah. It was terrible. But I did get the picture with him either way, and it was still cool getting to meet him. Okay, so Kazumi Evans, Winnie City PonyCon 2016. She is the voice of Adagio Dazzle, the singing voice of Rarity, and she voices Moondancer, one of my favorite characters in My Little Pony. She's one I've wanted to meet for a long time, mostly because of Adagio Dazzle, if I'm being honest. Back in those times, I actually kind of had a crush on Adagio Dazzle. She was my favorite villain in MLP up to that point. At that point, and I really just, the first time I saw Rainbow Rocks, which is when it was in theaters, I just fell in love with her character. And she was Rarity's singing voice, which has always been gorgeous. And then there was Moondancer, of course, which was one of the episodes that made me cry harder than any other. Yeah, it was just great finally getting to meet her, and it was just a wonderful experience. This was taken actually just before that picture with Andrea Libman. So yeah, moving on though, at Youmacon 2017 last year, I met Keith Silverstein. He is Guild Tessero in One Piece Film Gold. He's Johann Liebert in Monster, Tom Tanaka in Durarara, Robert E.O. Speedwagon in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Kimimaro in Naruto, and he's also the voice of Torbjorn in Overwatch. And I got to meet him at a meet and greet with the guests and everything, and we mostly talked about Monster because I wanted to talk about how a lot of people don't often when they talk about him, they don't bring that role up a lot. And he's like, yeah, he talked about how it was kind of more obscure compared to some of his other roles. But that when he does find a fan who brings it up to him, they're some of the most passionate he gets to meet. And it was just really cool because he basically told me that I was amongst those people to him. And it was really cool. He was really nice and really just super kind and soft-spoken. But it was just awesome because Monster, he's my favorite villain in anime. Johann Liebert from Monster is my favorite villain. He is legitimately terrifying. And Keith does an amazing job at his voice. Yeah, I'm going to try to get through these as quickly as I can because I got other stuff to record. So Kelly Sheridan, Starlight Glimmer in MLP. She's one of the voices of Barbie. And she's Sango from Inuyasha. This was at TrotCon 2015. I am dressed as Starlight Glimmer's Witness, a Jehovah's Witness version of a Starlight Glimmer version of Jehovah's Witness, which she loved. She found that hilarious. She was extremely nice, extremely cool. She just was so happy to see something like that silly as a cosplay. And yeah, it was just an overall fun time. Kyle Hebert, Midwest Media Expo 2016. He is the voice of Kakyoin from JoJo. He is Miles Edgeworth in one of the Ace Attorney games. He is Aizen in Bleach, Karasu in Yu Yu Hakusho, Ryu in Street Fighter, Fallman in Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, and of course, teen/adult Gohan in Dragon Ball Z/Dragon Ball Super. He's also the guy who made famous the line "next time on Dragon Ball Z." He's that guy, yeah. He was extremely funny. He was a dork. We actually took a couple pictures. The first picture we took, he actually wanted to wear, because I was dressed as Pinkie Pie and I had my Rainbow Dash plush with me. He wanted to wear my Rainbow Dash plush on his head. It was just extremely funny. In fact, I think I could probably bring up that picture real quick. He was great getting to me out. I got to actually meet him a few times throughout the convention. Got to say hi to him and everything. Every time he was extremely nice, extremely funny. He had a blast, like kind of making fun of a lot of things, but he was really cool too. Like it wasn't just him goofing around either. He actually showed that he was really cool about a lot of it. He loved talking about his different roles and everything. Here we go. Let me just get that up. Let me put that. Hold on. There we go. Yeah, this was the first picture we took. He actually asked to wear Rainbow Dash on his head like that. It's fantastic. And we got another picture later on where he was walking by with his fiance at the time, author, writer, wrong. And yeah, I got another picture with them at that point. I was actually helping staff at that convention, so that was basically when it happened. But yeah, he's just an all-around amazing person I really wanted to meet for so long. Okay, so Michelle Krieber and Black Griffin. This was at the Krieber Christmas Cabaret in Grand Rapids, Michigan in 2014. So yeah, this was a thing I went to with a friends. It was just across the state. It was a Christmas concert being put on by Michelle and her family with Gabe as a special guest. And in preparation for it, I had actually gotten this print and everything, and I showed them on Twitter. Gabe really wanted to sign it. Like, when he saw it on Twitter, he's like, oh, because I posted, I'm like, I was planning on bringing it with me, and I posted that on Twitter, and he's like, ooh, can I sign it? And I'm like, that was the plan. And he was excited about it. I love that. So yeah, I got to meet them. I got the print signed by both of them. And yeah, they're just super nice, super friendly. Michelle was a little distracted because there was a lot going on. She was trying to get to everybody. But Gabe was... they were both really nice either way. Michelle was so sweet. She's just a sweetheart. And Gabe is just really, really funny and cool and just... Yeah, it's just great because I mentioned to him how his music was like the first music I discovered in the fandom and everything. And he was really happy about that, really cool. And yeah, so that was awesome. Monica Rial. She is Sienna Khan in Ruby. She's Maho Hyajo in Steins Gate Zero. Mei Chang in Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. Tomoko Kuroki in Watamote. Bulma in Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball Super. And Suyu Asui in My Hero Academia. I got to meet her at Youmacon 2016. She was one of the ones I really wanted to meet that year the most. And she was just really funny and nice. And at the time, I wasn't as into My Hero Academia as I am now. I mostly wanted to talk to her about Mei Chang. And she loved doing that role. She adored doing it and had a lot of fun with the character. But yeah, it was great getting to meet her. Okay, so this was at Youmacon last year, 2017. This is Nathan Sharp, also known as Nate Wants to Battle. He is a YouTube gamer and musician, though he's kind of strayed a little bit away from the gaming in the recent years. He also does voice acting for anime. And this is his girlfriend, Christina V., who is known for voicing Marinette Dupain Chang in Miraculous Ladybug, as well as various other anime roles. She's also the voice of J10 from the Human Zoo in Steven Universe. So that's great. I got to meet them during opening, or no, it was opening ceremonies, and I actually worked in the panel room, at the panel room during one of their panels later on in the convention. They're super cool and nice. Nate is amazing. He's funny, he's sweet, he's really cool, he loves his fans, and Christina was just really nice, and they were both awesome. Nate I had been following for years, so it was great to see someone who I really loved on YouTube. It's almost as good as if I had met like someone like Jacksepticeye or Markiplier. That's how big of a deal it was. Nowacking, who I plan to meet again this year at Youmacon. This picture was from Youmacon 2014. It was not taken with my camera, because at the time I didn't have a camera. It was taken with my friends. But yeah, so this is when I got to meet Nowacking, or Jesse Nowak. This was obviously years before he came out as trans, and years before I came out as trans. So that's another reason why I really want to get another picture with him this year, kind of just to show the change. He was really cool. The funny thing is, I was on the train, or on the People Mover, with Living Tombstone, musician and everything on YouTube, who is known for his time in the Brony community. And I'm talking to him and everything, and I mentioned that the one person I really wanted to meet, who I knew was there, was Nowacking. And then I hear a chuckle beside me, like this little held back chuckle, and I look over and he's right there. Nowacking is right there. And I was so embarrassed. It was one of the only times I was really, like, legitimately super embarrassed. But after we got off and everything, I asked Nowacking for a picture, and Tombstone was happy enough to take it for us. That one ended up being lower quality, so I got one later on in the convention. Got a different one, and this is the second one. He's just really cool, and I really want to meet him again, especially now that he's also come out as trans and everything. Because he's just helped inspire my journey that much more. So, Tara Strong, BronyCon 2016. Yup, the immortal, amazing Tara Strong, one of the greatest voice actresses in history. I met her at BronyCon 2016. She was the only guest I paid to meet that year. And it was amazing. She's Bubbles from Powerpuff Girls, Twilight from MLP, she's Mushi Sanban from Codename Kids Next Door, Harley Quinn in multiple iterations, she's Batgirl, she's Arizona Cow, she's Raven, she's amazing. So yeah, I got to meet her. I talked to her about her role in Spirited Away as Baby Bo, which is a role that not a lot of people ask her about, and we got a quick picture. We didn't talk for too long. Because she had a massive line. I waited in line for 2.5 hours. It was the longest I waited in line for anyone, actually. But I felt it was worth it. And it was the only time since the first time I met Andrea Libman that I freaked out afterwards. After I met her and everything, I nearly blacked out. Like, no joke. I left the autograph hall and I had to sit down because I was on the verge of blacking out because I was that overexcited about it. She shaped my childhood growing up. She shaped my love of animation. Because of MLP, it reignited my love of animation after having been focusing more on video games for so long. She has literally been, like, fueling my greatest passions for my entire life. She has been inspiring me with her characters. So yeah, meeting her was a huge fucking deal. And it's one of the best moments I've ever had in my life. After that, we have Todd Habercorn and Vic Mignogna. This was last year. I had met Vic Mignogna at a previous Youmacon, but again, just trying to keep the pictures short. The first time I met Vic Mignogna, though, was I think the year before. It was either 2016 or 2015. I'm kind of leaning towards 2015. I waited in line for an hour and a half to meet him, and he was really cool. He was in cosplay as a free character at that time, and we did a back-to-back pose and everything. It was really awesome. But this picture was taken last year, and it was mostly because I wanted to meet Todd. And it's like, I saw Todd, and he was hanging out with Vic, and it's like, I went up, asked Todd if I could get a picture, and he was like super cool about it, and Vic's like, yeah, let me get in on this too, and it's like, yeah, okay. Both of them are among some of my favorite voice actors of all time. Todd is known for voicing like Firo Prochinezzo in Baccano. He's Ling Yao in Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. He's Batar Jr. in Legend of Korra. He's in Agretzko. He's known for being Natsu in Fairy Tail. He's in Ancient Magus' Bride and so much more. Vic Mignogna is Edward Elric from Full Metal Alchemist and Brotherhood. He's Crow Branwyn from Ruby. He's Sabo from One Piece and so much more. Yeah, I had been wanting to meet Todd for years. He had been going to Youmacon for years, but I never got a chance to meet him. He always evaded me. So it's like just actually getting to see him and getting to meet him, I had to take the opportunity. It was so amazing. I didn't get to talk to them too much, but still, just getting to meet them, getting the picture, it was worth it. Next we have Tyson Reinhardt, the voice of Daru from Steins Gate. And I think he's in multiple other things, but that's actually all I know him for. So this is going to be a kind of a quick one. I had met him at Youmacon 2014. I didn't get a picture with him then. So last year, Youmacon 2017, while in my Daru cosplay, which he recognized instantly, like before I actually went up to see him, he actually pointed me out. He gave me a thumbs up from a couple feet away, and it's like, yeah, that's awesome. And so when I came up, we talked about it, and we got a picture. Funny enough, you see the guy on the left next to Tyson there, just looking over? That's actually my friend Brian. Yeah, I just find that funny that he's looking towards the camera as well, kind of from the back. Yeah, he's a friend I met in the Brony community, but we have a shared interest of anime and games and stuff as well. Yeah, but it was great getting to truly meet Tyson there and everything. Yuri Lowenthal, and I think this is the last one actually. So this was Youmacon 2016. We met, I think this was just before opening ceremonies. Or either that or just before closing, one of the two. He is the current voice of Peter Parker and Spider-Man in the PS4 game. He is Joseph Oda from Evil Within, Mercury Black from Ruby, Simone from Gurren Lagann, Pip Bernadotte from Hellsing Ultimate, and Shinra Kishitani from Durarara. I actually wasn't sure if it was him at first. I'm like just hanging around the area. Then I heard someone say his name, and I look over and see like he's standing there still. And so after he was done with that conversation, I went up and I actually asked him. It's like, "Are you Yuri Lowenthal?" And he's like, "Yeah, yeah." And it's like, so we started talking. I showed him my keychain. I had this little keychain dongle of Shinra, and he loved it. He talked about how that was one of his favorite roles at that time to do. We talked about his other roles and stuff, and yeah, he was just really cool and really fun to get to meet. And it's really cool that in the same year, I met him, who is the voice of Simone, and Kyle Hebert, who is the voice of Kamina from Gurren Lagann as well. It's cool that I got to meet both of them in the same year. Not at the same convention, but yeah, what can you do? But yeah, he was really cool. He was another one who loved talking about his roles. And yeah, so yep, that was it. Okay, so sorry about this video being so freaking long, like almost an hour long. But this was a fun video to do, to just talk about these kind of different guests I've met throughout my time going to these conventions throughout all of these years. And just everything that they've really meant to me. And I just really, really loved getting to talk about all of these. Now I'm going to just really quickly go through like my entire list because that was not everybody I have met and it was not all the pictures I have. So I'm going to go through my entire list real quick to end this off. Um, I'm literally not going to say anything else pretty much after this point. I'm just going to show you the list and say who they are and where each picture's from. I'm going to skip past the pictures I already showed as well because I'm going to show the full gallery now. So yeah, thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope you enjoyed this video. So yeah, let's get on with all of these pictures. Okay, Andrea Libman, Ponyville Cider Fest 2014. Blue Star Brony, Defender of Equestria, BronyCon 2016. Brass Knuckles, PhillyCon 2016. Kieran Strange, First Meeting, Youmacon 2015. Kieran Strange, Youmacon 2016. Cosmo, PhillyCon 2016. Crown Prince, BronyCon 2017. Cyril the Wolf, PhillyCon 2016. Daniel Ingram, BronyCon 2017. David Eddings, NotCon 2017. DeWilstonator, BronyCon 2016. Detroit Lions player Jason Hansen, A Church Wild Game Dinner. Dr. Wolf, BronyCon 2016. Finn the Pony, BronyCon 2017. GM Barrow and M.A. Larson, TrotCon 2015. Garnica, PhillyCon 2016. Hallelujah Brony, Windy City PonyCon 2016. Ian Sinclair, Youmacon 2014. I Love Kimpossible a Lot, Windy City PonyCon 2016. Ink Rose, BronyCon 2017. Isaac Smith, the lead singer of Man Eating Lion, at a Man Eating Lion concert in 2017. Jay Hauler, Windy City PonyCon 2016. Jaded Jinx, PhillyCon 2016. John St. John, Midwest Media Expo 2016. NotCon 2017. And Youmacon 2017. Josh Scorcher, BronyCon 2016, BronyCon 2017, and Windy City PonyCon 2016. Linkara, Youmacon 2016. Little Shy FIM, BronyCon 2016, and PhillyCon 2016. M.A. Larson, TrotCon 2015. Mad Munchkin, BronyCon 2017. Magpie Pony and the Lost Narrator, BronyCon 2017. Max Kerman, lead singer of the Congos, or lead singer of Arkells at a Congos concert in 2016. Nico Crispy, TrotCon 2015. Odyssey Eurobeat, TrotCon 2015. Paleo Steno, Saberspark, and AC Rice Best, Windy City PonyCon 2016. Saberspark and Dusty Cat, Ponyville Cider Fest 2014. Serendipity and Other Pony Cosplayers, BronyCon 2017. Sawa, Youmacon 2017. Silverquill, BronyCon 2016. Sketchy the Changeling, BronyCon 2016. Steam-Powered Giraffe, Youmacon 2016. Stephen A.D., TrotCon 2015. The Living Tombstone, Youmacon 2014. Vic Mignogna, Youmacon 2015. Viva Reverie, BronyCon 2016. Woodlore, PhillyCon 2016. Your Enigma and Rhymeflow, BronyCon 2016. And famous people I've met but didn't get a picture with. I met Bill Clinton, former U.S. president, when I was a baby. Pro wrestling legends Eddie Guerrero and Lex Luger. Voice actress Caitlin Glass. Writer and animator Ken Pontac. Artist Bray Burned. And custom pony figure creator Silverband. Thank you for watching. I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.